What is up, guys? Verse here. We are back with another Ahiru no Sora review. So, I believe we're on episode 43. The name of the episode was called Best Lineup. Now, last episode I did mention this a little bit about what that could mean, and I didn't know at the time if it could. They were talking about Yoko's team or Kuzu's team, but they were talking about Kuzu's team when they were talking about best lineup. So best lineup was the Kuzu team, and obviously we already know what Kuzu's best lineup is without even seeing it. Obviously, uh, but yeah, we're gonna hop into the episode. Let's just we already kind of did anyway, but we'll start from the beginning. So this was the first episode Kite got in, right? So last episode it ended pretty much with Kite coming in from uh they just really started losing momentum. Yoko started taking off. I think Yoko I think it was like 16. They scored like 16 in a or 10 in a row, or got a 16-point lead in a certain amount of time. So Yoko was on fire for a hot minute as soon as they made like a quick sub. So they had to pretty much pick Kite in. Once Kite came in, kind of changed the tide on it a little bit. In terms of their ability to score and things like that defense wise. So once that happened, they did better on defense, but as well as this Kite, we got a glimpse of basically we're gonna get a full on that episode was kind of full on a Kite episode in a sense. We saw the most and heard the most from Kite that episode, and probably the most I've ever heard him talk in an episode. But yeah, he for sure got a lot of attention that episode. Um, More than a lot of the other obviously players that episode. So it was kind of a big focus on him in the episode, and really because we have not really heard from Kite in quite a while. We've seen some scenes of Kite, especially practicing with the I believe college guys, right? We've seen some of those, but we really haven't seen or heard too much of Kite's thoughts. We don't know what's been going on in his head and things like that. Here we kind of got a real good look at what he's trying to do coming in. What we saw early on, we thought he didn't really change his habits. He came in immediately just like chunked up a shot or something like that. But obviously, it was a reason he did it because he felt like Yoko's such a great team that he can't really be throwing sloppy passes around them. So instead of going for a pass that looked probably sloppy, he went for a contested layup. But yeah, so and they were just like, "Oh man, has Kite really changed at all?" Even Yoko's team at certain points through the episode was like, he's probably the worst to have at a shooting guard because he hurts the team more than he helps because they were saying he would like just shoot every shot or things like that. But there was a reason for Kite's madness. And two was one, Momo, right? Momo, and I believe he mentioned this in the episode. It's been like I reviewed the episode a little bit a while back, to the earlier today, but I haven't really seen an episode in full since Wednesday, the day it dropped. So it's a little bit not as fresh on my mind as it should be. But yeah, um, he basically had so much faith in Momo, and that's and I can't remember who said this right, but this was said, and they said the moment. Oh, I think it was one of the one of the watchers. I think from Shimaraku's team, I believe. I believe it was Shimaraku or Marku's team. They were. He said the moment they Momo loses confidence in grabbing rebounds or falls under the pressure of being their rebounder, that's when they lose this game. So yeah, there was something they kind of pointed out there. Also, like I said, Kite chunking up shots, but before that, he was also really interacting with a lot of the players here. And even Yasu said this. He said, "Wow, this is the most I think I've talked to Kite since the burning of the thing." So Yasu was really just and he was just saying, Kite was just saying things to them to kind of, I guess, motivate him in his own, way. And Sora, pretty much was like, well, and also going back to how Kite was just I'm kind of jumping all over, but this is all related to Kite, jumping, well, jumping up my words now, but even Nao at one point in the told Sora like, get the game back under control, and Sora was like, actually, I want to leave this game in Kite's hand for a little bit longer because I kind of see what he's doing here, so let me put faith in him. And obviously, in the end of the last episode, Kai said he would catch the game up in 3 minutes or something like that. So we kind of had high expectations for him once in this episode to see what he would do, how much he's improved, things like that, yada yada yada. And yeah, so him, Sora, I think the whole team has just really been on fire. That first half. Of the episode. So Sora, he stole the ball back at one point from the same guy that stole the ball from him. Scored a quick pull up, as well as Kite hit a. He got a 4 point play, got fouled on a 3 point attempt and made it. And yeah, everyone was just doing really solid. I think Yasu had an open layup and missed it or so. Um, so it was, yeah, but Chiaki also, um, I think I mentioned this in earlier episodes, but he's really been. He hadn't. I don't think done. He didn't do too much this episode, but in the earlier episode, he even scored like a dunk. So you can just tell the effort he's really been putting in this game, or because he normally tries not to put as like little effort into things as possible. So he's really trying this game. So it's just a lot going on in this episode that kind of continued off from what we've seen last episode, as well as just its own episode, right? So, like I said, this episode is called Perfect Lineup. So, like I said, now the reason that's called that because Mokichi came in the game. Obviously, we know the best lineup is Mokichi, Momo, Chiaki, Kite, and Sora, and that's the best lineup. Sora at point guard, Kite at shooting guard. Now they wanted to do Chiaki at It used to kind of be like this. It used to be Chucky at point guard, Sora at shooting guard, Kite at small forward. That kind of used to be the thing, and then and this never changes. But Momo at power forward and Mokichi at center, those never changes. That never changes when Mokichi's in the game. He's always center. But when they now switched it to where Sora's point guard, Kite is shooting guard, and Chiaki is small forward. So they kind of changed it, and really they don't really point these out a lot during the game. Positions almost don't matter too much, besides center and point guard in anime, and for some reason it just really does not matter that much. But yeah, that's pretty much uh, how that layout is. What we've seen so far. So yeah, pretty solid. Like I said, game so far, and nearing the end of it. Wait, let me make sure if I kind of jump to that end part. Well, Bokichi came in obviously doing his thing, long reach, able to get steals, blocks, shoot. His hook shots unstoppable if he's making it. So Mokichi brings a lot to the game. Usually height alone does not really help a player all the time, but Mokichi, as skilled as he is able to get lots of things from do a lot on defense. So he really does help. Him and Momo really do help. As well as also speaking of Momo, Momo's a really underrated defender here. I don't think we ever really think of Momo as anybody but like the Dennis Rodman rebounder guy. But Momo really has his moments on defense. He normally comes in a foul or whatnot, but he's a pretty underrated defender. So is Chiaki. As obviously the only flawed defenders is Sora, which is not his fault. It's height reasons and the Nasu, Yasu, and Nabi and things like that type guys. So those three kind of um struggle on defense, but yeah, they're doing better. But anyways, yeah. So like I said, best lineup here, and it's always the reason this lineup can never. I mean, this and it would be perfect too if they were so if they were consistent. Let me say that first. If this lineup was consistent, as well as they had the stamina to use this lineup from front to end, like they would almost probably win quite a few games. So that's a pretty perfect lineup, right? So I mean, it's just a lot that goes on. Besides Sora, if he could get a little taller, but no, just talking. But I mean, oh, another thing to note, I skipped this earlier. Yasu really has, and I said this last episode, improved as a player. He's like out of the three delinquent guys, has improved the most in my terms between him and Natsu and Chucky. I mean Nabi and Chucky. I think I said Natsu earlier. you guys know who I'm talking about when I refer to those three. But yeah, Yasu really has in like probably the best improvement in terms of overall offense, defense, things like that. He's not afraid to shoot it. He goes in for layups. I mean, it's a lot of things he does now that he definitely could do earlier. And we know Chucky is the defensive guy, right? Chucky's pretty much comes in. And he's supposed to be a really lockdown defender, which he kind of is in a sense. He even like it might have been luck or whatever, but even when Fua was in the game earlier, Chucky was, if I can say their names right, Chucky was able to actually get a just get knock the ball out of his hands. Not a steal necessarily, but he was able to disrupt him on offense. And then we saw we haven't seen Nabu yet, so he might come in and make a three. So it's undetermined how much he can do here so far. But there was a big thing I disliked at the end of this episode. There was, and I'm gonna say it, man. It's just so many. We've seen it so many time and time again, and it just seems like I thought this game should be different. But Nayo, man, I gotta say it. She's failed us, man. She's failing us in terms of coaching. She's supposed to, by this point, I mean, she's supposed to not mess up, right? This supposed to probably be, if this, I'm assuming this ain't the last game. If this, because if so, then I mean, yeah, it was definitely supposed to be a perfect, coaching game for her in my eyes. I at least suspected, um, but already, at the very end, I always hate, well, hold up, when there's a big like kind of foreshadow or the downfall of things like that. And that's kind of what happened at the end of this episode. Nail was essentially said, "Oh, Mokichi is obviously he's a big. It's like a double-edged sword. He's a big liability. The longer he's in the game, but obviously when he is in the game, he's a really great, player. Obviously, can score, tall, can defend. I mean, it's just a lot is better for the team when Mokichi's in the game. And Nail's problem here was she said not knowing when to bring him in the game and not knowing when to take him out the game. So I think she believed she put him in too early, as well as missing the opportunity to take him out. I can't remember exactly her wording, but just know she messed up. And I mean, Nayo is at this point has messed up almost every game. I feel like she fails to call timeouts. She fails to coach them as a team, motivate them. I mean, I know at a certain extent they got to make their own, correct themselves at times, but it seems like she's just not on a coaching level. And obviously, that's the role she's supposed to have to me in this anime. Like she's not just the trainer, right? She's supposed to be the coach for the team. And if she's gonna coach, I mean, she surely should be coaching well by now, and she still has failed to do that in my eyes. But it's just is what it is. How they want to write that story. I'm not gonna let it bug me too much, but it's just something that's noticed and noticeable, and it's just I don't understand why it's still a problem at this point. Why she's not able to call timeouts at the right time, things like that. Like it's just how the game how they lost like they went down like 15 and like let under they went down by 10 in less than a minute or something like that, I believe. And she should have called their timeout before the momentum even shifted. So it's just one of those things, man. But anyways, yeah, they are did catch back up though. Like I said, Kai did hold his word, and they did catch up. They were I think only down by like what 4 or something or 2 or 4, I believe, before the episode ended. So yeah, they've done really well so far. First half of the game. Oh, Bills, just can't wait to see what happens next. We'll wait to see what happens next, man. And so far, man, we're essentially at the probably best point in this anime series so far we've seen, man. I think this game's really great. So much great story, so much great build up, just so much happening that just led up to just emphasize.